So in this short video, I'm just going to put a loop on the end of this bit of paracord. I need a length about 1 foot long with a loop either end, and I don't want to tie it. It's a permanent piece of kit, so I'm going to weave the paracord into itself. I'm sure it's probably got a name, I don't know what it is. Just 3 or 4 times, and that will sort of lock onto itself. I might whip it afterwards just to make it look a bit complete, but you don't need to do that. The cord locks onto itself. I've got a little bit of paracord. I only want a small loop, about so big, so I'm going to put my first hole in my paracord there. Now to do that, you can use something with a point on like that. You can use a small screwdriver. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to use a pair of needle nose pliers. I've already sealed the end of my paracord using my lighter, and I've tried to make that as smooth as possible because that's going to help it go through easier. So first things first, make a hole in my paracord. So I'm just going to wiggle this screwdriver through. So it comes out the other side. So all I'm doing is just moving it backwards and forwards just till it starts to come through. And it is almost. I'm only using this because this is what most people have lying around. I could have used my soldering iron, and I may go to that in a second. I suppose most people have got a nail, haven't they? And this is like a nail, so let's try that's better. So soldering iron's through, just going to move it backwards and forwards a bit, and all this is doing is just opening up the hole that I've made so it's a little bit bigger. Once I've got it nicely stretched, I'm going to put my needle nose pliers through the same hole. What I'm trying to do with these is make sure, get that up. What I'm trying to do with the needle nose pliers is make sure that I don't get any fibres caught in them. Otherwise that will make it difficult to draw the cable through. So I've got a fairly decent sized hole there now. Obviously if you've got a smaller pair of needle nose pliers that would help. Well, I got home about 3:15 that afternoon. She was waiting for me all dressed to kill and headed out the door. She said, see you later, baby. I'm just opening the pliers as I push them through, and that's opening the hole up even more. Got some cable, some paracord, some inner fibres caught there. I want to minimise that as much as possible. Certainly don't want any outer fibres in there. So there you go. So now I've got a nice big hole there. I'm just going to take the other end, pass it through. It's not going to go all the way through, so just close the pliers on it, slide it off like that. This is that sort of cheap paracord, so it hasn't got the clear strands in it. So I am getting caught up on those a little bit. The problem with that is it tends to drag. There we go. So that's what I'm after. Don't worry too much about the state of this just here, because that will all close down once you start rolling it and everything. So that's my first section of loop. So what I'm going to do with the next bit, I need to cut this paracord off because I want this part now. So this section goes through this section. I want this section to go through that section for the next bit. Sorry, and then I'll do it 2 or 3 times, tighten it all up, and using the same process until I get to the ends. This is where I decide how big I want my loop to be. So I want my loop to be about that big. So my hole is going to go in just about there, but I don't need to have that all in the way. So I'm just going to move that right out the way, and then I'm going to put my hole in there. As I say, you can just do this with a nail. It off. Stretch it out. So that's the first part. So the next one is this one through here, and then so on and so on all the way down until it is complete. I'll bring you back when that's done and you can see what it looks like. So there we have it, woven in. I'm just going to finish it off. This isn't like 9 strand paracord or anything like that. It's this fibery stuff, so you will get some fibers coming through. Easy enough to just finish that off, play a bit of flame over it, and that just burns all those fine fibers away. And then this end, you could either trim it and then melt it on, or whip it. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a whipping around that bottom end, just to keep it flush. But you can see there, and that loop isn't going anywhere. So whipping the end just keeps this a little bit tidy, and if the whole point is to have as smoother a line as possible, you don't want that catching on things, you want to hold that tight. So I'll whip this with I've just got this bit of sort of stretchy cotton elastic stuff, but I did the whipping on my ridge line with just a bit of white cotton, so you could use cotton as well. It's exactly the same process. So first of all, give yourself a bit of length down the bottom, and then come up to where you want to start your whipping. I'm going to start my whipping just past this, just on this second white weave, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to start a nice tight loop and work my way down. So this bit now is trapped underneath. She peeped through the keyhole of the door, spied out in Alice's arm. He's my man, and he done me wrong. Because this is elastic, I'm pulling it nice and tight just to take up that elasticity. If this was cotton, you'd still want to put it relatively tight, but you wouldn't have to worry about all this elasticity in here. If you don't come to the woman you love, gonna haul you out of here. Now I'm getting fairly close to the end of where I want to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double this cord back over like that, and I'm probably going to come to just past this. So there will be a bit good. Okay. So now that's trapped in there. I'm just going to carry on whipping now to the end. It's obviously it's up to you how you finish these. If you've got some of that heat shrink plastic that you use on electrical connections, that would work equally as well, if not better. I don't have that, so I won't be using it. The judge says to Frankie, you're going to be justified for killing a man, and he done you wrong. So I'm nearly at the end of where I can whip to. So there you go. So I've just fell off the end of my... Dark was the night, cold was on the ground. The last word I heard Frank. So to finish this off, there you go. To finish this off, I'm going to take this end and pass it through that loop like that, and then I'm going to pull this bit, and you can see that that's tightening that bit there. And I'm going to pull it till it actually goes inside. Just a little bit. There we go. Now I can trim this off like that, and then that little bit there is actually going to go all the way in there like that, and then I can just trim this bit as well. There you go. So that's how it looks when it's finished. Very tidy piece of kit. And if you wanted to make sort of permanent guy lines and stuff like that with a loop on one end, that's how I do it.